Hey guys, before we start, a quick shout out to Alpha Dog Nutrition for sponsoring this podcast. Alpha Dog products are now available at dusupply.com, and you can use code ALPHADOG15 at checkout for 15% off and a credit for free shipping to try it yourself. Now let's get you to your podcast.
Where's Fielder? He's gone to the dogs.
Welcome, friends, to the Gone to the Dogs podcast. It's my pleasure to be with you once again this week. We got a brand new guest, someone that has not been on the Gone to the Dogs podcast in our 3 years of existence. Been podcasting about 5 years myself. But the first time that I've had the opportunity to speak with our guest in this platform, and I feel like I know him really well because I see his name and picture pop up so many times in the winners list on the PKC site and on Facebook and various social media platforms. But I have not had the opportunity to talk to him before now, but I sure am glad that that we're going to have a conversation today with Marc Gilmore from the great state of Texas. How are you today, Marc?
We're doing all right. How about you, Steve?
I'm doing good. I really am for an old man. It seems like the gulf between the age group of the people that I speak to can get to be quite large. Now, last week, I spoke with my friend, and he's a mutual friend of ours, I think, from there in Texas, Ray Dismukes. And Ray and I are the same age. You know Ray, I guess.
Know him well.
Yeah.
Know Ray well. Yes,
he
sir.
speaks very highly of you, Marc, and that's one of the things I want to get into a little bit later because you've got a lot of friends out there.
I have quite a few.
Yeah, you absolutely do. And, well, let's build a little foundation. Well, first of all, we'll tell our listeners kind of why we besides the fact it's just always good to hear a new voice on the program. But you've built quite a resume here in competition hunting, and a lot of it's been built around this Backwoods Sliding Clyde dog that you have. But just for our listeners, and we're going to discuss these events and all, you won the Michael Moody Memorial, which was a $100,000 hunt. And I want to, that's quite an amazing story to me, and that I want to learn more about. We know that you are the 2025 Texas PKC State Champion. I know that you made the Final Four, I believe, and maybe split, I don't know what, in the Lone Star 5000 this year.
Yeah, I made a Final Four a couple nights.
And the Black Eyed Pea Classic, you showed up pretty strong there. And in 24, you won the Pro Sport side-by-side hunt there in Wheeler, Illinois, the Muddy. And we want to talk about that one as well. So we got a lot to talk about. But, Marc, I want you to tell the listeners a little bit about your background. Where were you born and raised, and how old you are, and about your family, and just a little bio there before we go further.
Okay. I was born and raised in Hutchins, Texas, which is right outside of Dallas.
Okay.
Really, actually, Dallas County still. So I'm half city, half country. I always tell people,
Okay.
I come from, middle class parents. My dad was a truck driver. My mom, she retired from Macy's.
Oh, okay. They've got a few of my dollars over the years.
I bet so.
Yeah.
Probably still getting them. Just well, nobody but me, my mom, my dad, and I have an older brother. Let's see, I'm a third generation coon hunter. My granddad was a coon hunter. My dad's a coon hunter. I'm the only one that competition hunted.
Yeah.
So I don't know. We're just pretty regular folks, down to earth folks, church going folks, you know,
awesome.
for the most part.
Awesome.
I don't know, man. I'm pretty simple, man. I don't know. I mean, I'm just an old coon hunter. I work for a living, work for the city of Dallas. So
you do have a family of your own, I believe.
Well, I'm not married.
Okay.
I have kids. Yeah,
all right.
I was married before.
I see. Okay.
Not married now, but I have kids, have grandkids.
Awesome.
Just actually had a grandson about 3 months ago.
Well, congratulations.
I appreciate it.
Hope you make a coon hunter out of him.
I hope so. I hope so.
Well, that's great.
Yeah. So, I mean, whatever you want to know, I can
okay. Well, I that's good. That gives us a background of who Marc Gilmore is. Okay. Yeah. And a third generation coon hunter. Now, were you able to hunt with your granddad?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was. Yeah.
And they were there in Dallas County too?
No, my grandparents, they're from Calvert, Texas, which is a little north of College Station. Maybe 30 minutes, if you know where that is.
I do.
Matter of fact, me and Ray, we met over there in hunting. If he has a place over there, he can hunt in Calvert.
Yeah. It's interesting you mentioned, and I'll just interject this right here. I was on the phone yesterday with a fella that you know as well, Kenwood Maker.
Oh, yeah, I know Kenwood.
Kenwood told me a story about you when you were a young hunter. And he was at a hunt somewhere, and his dog got treated kind of deep at the end of the hunt. Do you remember that?
That was over 20, 25 years ago, I bet.
Well, I don't know how many, but he said, dog was treated in there pretty deep. And he said he started to him, and you were along. And you said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to go get my dog. And he said, no, give me that leash. I'll go get him. And he said Marc walked in there and got my dog and brought him out for me. He said, I never forgot that.
Oh, yeah, yeah. We got to take care of our old hunters, man. They kind of, paved the pathway for us. So, we got to always try to be respectful. And, man, coon hunting isn't an easy sport, especially for an older guy.
Preach it, brother. As they say, for those in the back, say it again.
So we got to take care of them.
Well, God bless you, because you're absolutely right. When we get older, we still have the fire for it. The fire's not as bright as it was at one time, but we still have a love for the sport, love to get out with the hounds, and many times we do have to depend on the younger hunters. James Wright down here. Do you know James in Florida?
I know him.
Yeah.
Not well, but I do know James.
Yeah, James hunts or did at one time for Ike Rainey. Did you hunt for Ike at all?
I did.
Yeah, okay. I was thinking maybe you did. Yeah. But anyway, we were on a PKC hunt that night, and I was hunting a young Walker dog that I had, and right at the end of the hunt, he got in there over to our right, and we were walking back to a truck. He said, give me your leash, Steve. And I said, what? And he said, I'm going to go get your dog. Just go on back to the truck. And I said, yeah, I like the sound of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, listen, we've kind of established a little background and anybody, as I say, that hasn't been under a rock for the last few years know who you are and have seen your winnings and probably hunted with you out there on the circuit, so to speak. But when did that we were talking about your grandfather. Now, your granddad, what kind of dogs did he keep?
from what I know, mostly walkers.
Uh-huh.
And they say he always had some real good dogs. And
yeah. What was his name, Mark?
Ezekiel Gilmore.
Okay. All right.
Yes, sir.
That's a good, strong name. That's a Bible name. Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, they moved from Calvert to North Dallas. And we used to go hunting all the time. We used to go hunting. I'll tell you a story. We used to go hunting around apartment complexes. Them coons would come to them trash bins.
Yeah.
And when we would pull up to the apartment complex, man, all I remember, man, you would see maybe 8 or 10 coons just bail out of a dang trash bin. And we would cut them dogs loose. And, man, we would get dogs from under people's cars because them coons would go up in motors and all that type of stuff. Man. But he kind of lit a fire up me under me because my dad worked a lot. I hunted with my dad quite a bit, but he did work a lot. And I would always hang out with my granddad, like on weekends or the summers when I went in school. Yeah. And we would hunt all the time,
Yeah. Go ahead.
He always kept a pretty good dog, and from what I can remember.
Yeah, what a great heritage, My dad was like that. He was a pipe fitter and worked away from home. He was gone all during the week and came home on weekends. So we did our hunting, on the weekends when he was home. But I was fortunate to have a dad that I was always welcome to go along from the time I was just a little guy. And, no doubt that's what started, the love for coon hunting and hounds for me as well. What was your dad's name, Mark?
My dad's name is Don Gilmore.
Don? Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes. Well, that's great. What a heritage, huh? Well, you said they did not competition hunt. When did that start for you?
My first competition hunt was with a friend of my dad's. He's no longer with us, but Johnny Bell, he probably played a big part of me playing hunting too. He took me to a UKC hunt. And I remember treeing the coon out the truck. And I don't know if UKC still does this, but you could, if you get 400 minus, you're scratched from the hunt.
Yeah.
And as soon as I treat that coon, I believe I treat my dog 2 or 3 more times while he was running. I went out backwards. I didn't know no better. But that was probably my first one. But I didn't really get serious. I would say probably around the 2007, 2010 round then, kind of really knowing how a dog need to operate in a competition setting, what it took for one to win, and really how to train one,
Yeah.
I knew how to coon hunt and all that, but really in competition and pleasure hunting, just two totally different worlds, I believe. So
yeah, we needed to talk about that a little bit, but well, you must have been a quick study. You learned, you probably took some $30 lessons, didn't you?
I took plenty of them.
Yeah, I'm sure we all did, for sure. Were you hunting in competition when I was at PKC?
I don't believe so, Steve. I remember meeting you.
Okay.
I do remember meeting you in South Carolina at the AKC World Hunt.
Oh, okay.
And this had to be, there's when that ice storm came through the South. It went up by 20.
I went to AKC in 2004. In fact, I made my decision to go to AKC at the PKC World Hunt at Aurora in 2004. I believe that was the year that Ronnie Nickens won the World Hunt. And he may have won it more than one time. I don't know. But anyway, and we went over to Orangeburg and held the World Hunt when the leaves were off, I believe. We talked about that. But
and I believe it was a bunch of water out that year, if I can remember correctly.
Yeah, that area can get a lot of water. Sometimes I think we held that hunt, if I'm not mistaken, it was early winter. It might have been March or something.
Yeah, I believe so, because it was an ice storm come through there, I believe.
Yeah, Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. Well, I apologize for not recalling that, but man, the old memory's not what it used to be.
That's
Mark.
long. Yeah, years ago.
That's right. Well, okay. So what would you think, as you look back, what was your first real competition dog that you can remember hunting?
My dog, my dad had a dog directly out of Old Harry, and it's called Time Bomb.
Okay.
And he was a good dog. He was independent for the most part, but if he had a hole, it couldn't take much fang pressure. If you blew a kiss at him, he would leave a tree, if a dog came to him. And but he was a good dog, and I remember I just seen Ronnie Bone this past year at the World Hunt.
Yeah.
And I drew Ronnie. We had a hunt in Oklahoma called the Lucky Dog Bonanza. It was a big open hunt.
I remember that.
I
It was like $10,000 purse.
20,000.
20. Okay. Yeah, yes. I do remember that.
And I drew Ronnie, and he said the first thing I did, I called my dad. He said, "Dad, man," he said I was nervous. And I told my dad I drew Ronnie Bone. I don't know, Ronnie Bone. He's like the Dustin Weed now.
Yeah, absolutely. He was back in the day, for sure.
So, old Bone treated 4 coons that night. And I think we might have treated 5. He treated 4 of them. And I got in the final 4 that night. And Ronnie, every time I see Ronnie, he always brings that story up to me. But he don't never tell that part. He always just tell the part about me, being nervous about hunting against him. But he always leaves the fact that my dog treated out 4 coons. So I like it.
Yeah, you gotta. Well, it ain't bragging if you can do it, Mark.
Yeah. So,
well, that's great. Yeah, I've hunted with Ronnie. I've judged Ronnie. I've had seen Ronnie be a gentleman in situations where he had every right to be aggravated. And I know one time we had when I was with UKC, decided to start having a few money hunts, and we called them Grand Slams. And the first one we had was at E-Town, Kentucky, Elizabethtown. It's where Sluggo's from. You know Sluggo, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. And Ronnie showed up late at the deadline, and about 10 minutes, as I recall, I think. And he had a couple dogs. I believe he was hunting for Russ Beller at that time, maybe. And, I said, Ronnie, I hate to inform you that I can't take your entry. And, it was just a walk-up deal. It wasn't an advance entry. So anyway, well, no, he may have had the advance entries, but he wasn't there by the confirmation deadline, I believe. But anyway, Everybody knows Ronnie was a fierce competitor, but Ronnie was also a hunter, and he had one ready when he got to the hunt. That was my experience with Ronnie.
I'm glad you said that, because I think that's what we're missing a bunch of. We don't have many hunters no more. We got it. Yeah, I think that's what the sport is really missing. I hate to get off subject, but
no,
we don't have many hunters. I don't believe no more.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. And for those in the listening audience that may not understand that, you're talking about the guy that's out there all week getting one ready for the hunt, right?
Well, yes, sir. We have a few out there, but it's not. I don't believe it's not like it used to be.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I just talked to Ray Dismukes about the Texas State Championship. He won the UKC part of it, here just a week ago or so. Right. And it really is amazing to me that when I was at UKC, I went there full time in 1983. And then when we started the American Heritage Hunt in Hearn, I believe it's the first time Ray and I met. But back in those days, in those early 80s, mid 80s and all, the Texas State Hunt was drawing over 300 dogs a night. And I think he told me here just recently the hunt was 30-some dogs, which today is pretty good hunt, unless it's one of the well-advertised, bigger hunts like you've been participating in here lately. But the sport, not only in the sense that you're saying there are as many hunters, which you mean guys that really get out there and hunt all week. Overall, our numbers have declined. And I hate to see that. I feel like I know the reasons. Places to hunt is a big reason.
That's a big reason.
Yeah. Yeah. And Texas, as big as it is, it's still tough to find a place to hunt down there. Is it not?
Man. It's bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's bad. Yeah.
Well, do you know Sid Underwood?
I know Sid. I don't know him well, but I know Sid.
Yeah. He grew up over around Glen Rose. Which is in the Dallas area too, or more the Fort Worth area, I guess.
Right.
But, and we talk about hunting the way it was, back in the day. And I was stationed in San Angelo in the early 69 and 70, doing my basic training at Lackland in San Antonio, and then came up to San Angelo for school before I went to Japan. And I got in with the coon hunters there, and I started going to the hunts with them. I didn't even have a vehicle out there, but they hauled me around, and I'd handle a dog for somebody. And Kenwood and I were just talking yesterday about that's where we met at a hunt in what is that? Killeen down there. I think they call that Belton, Texas. They used to have a UKC hunt there. So anyway, there was a lot of room to hunt back in those days,
Oh, yeah. What was the name of that guy? The blue tick guy, man, that ran that club. Dog. He was the life of the party, too, man. He was always happy.
Yeah. Well,
good move. I can't think of his name.
Yeah.
Wait.
Was it Billy Woodard's husband?
No.
Man, there's so many of those Texas
people.
Many.
I haven't seen this guy in years, neither.
Oh, I can't. I know who you're talking about.
I'm looking at him. I'm looking at him, but I just can't. I can't.
Blue tick guy, yeah. Well, I remember many. I remember Miss Billy Woodard. She was from down around Lufkin, down around where Bud Dromgool's from. You know Bud, don't you?
Right.
Yeah. There's so many of those people that over the years. Jerry Keel, he hunted black dogs predominantly, and Dallas Sanders that hunted the red tick dogs. He was from down in that area. But the name will come to you after we end this podcast.
I want to say Jerry West. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Is that? That's right. Yeah,
that's right. You are exactly right.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, let's man, a lot of ground to cover here, and I know that you're taking time out from your work to speak with me, and I sure appreciate that, Mark. When did you start hunting for money?
Oh, shoot. I don't know. I guess really I started hitting. I had a dog, big wipeout dog, and I partnered with a guy named Chuck Fairbanks. He owns a Chevrolet dealership up over here in Dallas. I met him through his son. I sold his son a dog.
Okay.
And me and him, I don't know how we really just struck up a conversation about getting together, but we did. And we ran the road a while. We would hit the world hunt and stuff like that. We would go to some pro class, but not nothing over maybe 2,500 or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was the biggest we went to.
Yeah.
But we did well with that dog. I think I won. I won the PKC State hunt back to back. I believe in 17, 18, 18, 19.
Okay. Yeah.
And after that, that's when me and Ike hooked up, and that's really when because I drew, I guess, a lot of them. I guess you call the big name guys or the guys you see at the bigger hunts.
Sure.
a little bit, and I always thought, I said, man, I believe I can compete with them guys, you know. And but them guys, they win a lot, and they win a lot for a reason, you know.
Absolutely.
And so I got hooked up with Ike.
Ike Rainey here in Florida. Right. I say he's my neighbor. He doesn't live next door, but he lives probably within an hour and a half of me here. Yeah.
Okay. You're not far from it.
No, I'm a little further south, a little further west of him.
Okay. And me and Ike, he sent me a dog. He had won the Super Stake, I believe. He called him Big Money Frank. He was out of Big Money, and he was a good dog. He wasn't a great dog. He just wasn't consistent. You know, he's gonna give you a down night here and there. And he said, "I'll find you one." He said, "When I find you one, I'll let you know." And he called me. It wasn't a couple weeks later. He said, "You need to go to Arkansas and pick up Rock, late round Rock."
Yeah,
and that's who Billy Bell has him now.
Yeah,
and I went and got Rock, and I didn't like Rock at first. Didn't like him at all. And but Rock grew on me. It didn't take long for him to grow on me. And we went on a run, man. That dog, we did well for the short time we was together. I probably had him a year maybe. And I don't know, I probably won maybe 50, 60,000 with him. And I was working at the time still, so I couldn't be gone, every weekend. But wherever we showed up, we pretty much, we got in or we played somewhere. And let's see, after me and Ike parted ways, I went and found me a dog, which was a dog named Capone.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's one of the first ones I recall seeing you with. Yeah.
And I took him to the first Michael Moody hunt. And we got in the semis, and I drew Ike in the semis. And me, Ike, Bobby Burton, and I can't remember who the fourth dog was. But anyway, I treated Coon out the truck, and all I had to do was treat another Coon. And he run hogs on me the rest of that hunt. And I said, I made a vow I was going to never cut. I had things I didn't like about him, no way. And I said, man, I can believe I can do better. I'm really a one-man dog anyway. So I sold him to Mark Hall.
Yeah.
And I was looking around, and I called a buddy in Oklahoma, J.D. Johnson.
Yeah.
And he said, I'll look around for you. And he called me back maybe a week or two later. He says, boy now down here named Dylan Hood, he's a rodeo clown. He got in an accident at a rodeo, and he's going to sell this dog. I think Clyde was maybe 15, 16 months old at the time. And he just hunted a 1-year-old spring. I think he won a cast up there. So I called a couple people, called Judas Bolden, which is a good guy who he's no longer here with us.
Yeah.
And
what a shame.
Yeah. And he was one of the person I called about him because I seen Judas that hunted with him at the Super Stake. And Judas didn't have much to say about him. He said he treated Coon, kind of messed around with them dogs, and So I just went up there. I bought him sight unseen. Me and my dad, he rode up there with me. And I didn't even try him. I just bought him.
This is the Clyde dog.
The Clyde dog.
Okay.
And they called him. I think they called him Stupid. That was his name. And I bought him, brought him back home, and hunted him. And I could see some qualities about him. And I said, man, it's going to be a pretty good dog. And the more I hunted him, the more I liked him. But I had no idea in mind that we would go on the type of run we would,
Sure.
And
how old was he at that point, Mark?
About a year and a half, maybe.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I just hunted him. I would take him to a $30 hunt, work on him about stuff, and just pleasure hunting him by himself mostly for about maybe 5 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I put him in a few hunts, and I got a partner of mine named Derek Fields, and we're just really childhood friends. He's a coon hunter too.
Okay.
And we're just childhood friends that kind of grew up together. And he owns a logging business. And whatever I usually have, he has, and so forth when it comes to dogs. And brought him on. So we ran a little bit, hit the road, and we put him in the Black Eyed Pea. And we got in. That was the first major hunt we put him in. We got in 2 nights at the Black Eyed Pea. We didn't win a late round, and but we got in 2 nights. And I said, if he can compete with these dogs, I said, man, he can compete with anything.
That was a confidence builder for you,
and
right
it
there.
It really was.
Yeah.
And we kind of hunted a few hunts and messed around, and so a guy down here named Riggin Barham, he hadn't been at it long, and we hunt out of the same club in Mahia. And we kind of just, I don't know, we got tired of hunting against each other, or we just struck up a deal where, he became a partner on Clyde too. And he can kind of make it a bigger hunt, a lot more than the average man can. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so he came aboard, and man, he's really the one that really just pushed us over the top for us being able to, to go pretty much wherever we want.
Now, this is Riggin Barham?
Riggin Barham, yes,
Barham,
sir.
yes, sir.
Uh-huh.
And you also have another partner on the dog, right?
My dad.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, my dad, yeah.
All right.
So that's the crew. And Riggin kind of put us over the top to where we can just, if I want to go here, he'll say, hey, go here today. He had never told me no. So he might tomorrow, but wherever I pretty much want to go, he's gave me the okay to. So.
Right. Well, he knows you, and I think it goes back to that things that we've alluded to in the conversation, because quite honestly, Mark, I haven't talked to anybody that doesn't have a deep respect for you. For you and your dog. And I'd say that says a lot about a man right there to me. And
right.
Yeah. So, okay. So now that Black Eyed Pea hunt was not a hunt when I was with PKC. Right. Is it held down there? Is that the one that used to be the Jewett hunt, or what? Where is the Black Eyed Pea Classic held?
No, the Black Eyed Pea is in Athens, and it's held at, Van Pierce?
Yes, I do.
It's held at Van's house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's one of the best ran, one of the nicest hunts you'll go to.
I see.
I mean, yeah.
And you said you got in a couple of nights there?
I've been in the last 3 years I've had Clyde. I've got in twice every year with him. But I haven't won a late round.
but you're still taking home some change.
Yes.
Yeah. What's the hunting like around? What is the location there? Athens, you said?
East Texas. Yeah.
East
Not
Texas.
Far from Tyler, in that area,
okay. Got some big bottoms in there. And all.
Oh yeah, big bottoms, big hardwood bottoms.
Yeah. I got you. All right. When I was with PKC, when we started the Lone Star 5000,
right
at what is that? Ada? What is that? Not Ada, but
Jewett and Iola.
Iola, yeah.
Right.
See, the Iola hunt was first, and then the Jewett hunt came along afterwards, and it was held. Now I believe they're kind of held together, or maybe,
right.
Yeah,
Jewett will be Tuesday, Wednesday. And then Iola will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Yeah, and my memory is not serving me very well right now or today. But the gentleman, and I thought the world of him, that started that Jewett hunt there and all, the big fella. Do you remember his name? I imagine he was still hunting. Was probably not still hunting himself when they started that hunt. But, oh, man, his name will come to me again. And I know anybody anywhere near my age will remember the name, but it just won't come to me right now.
Where is he from?
Pardon? He was from right there around
Gary Puska?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I know that's him.
Gary Puska. Thank you.
Right.
Man, I tell you what, I'm slipping. I'm losing a step, Mark. I'm losing a step. People used to say, Fielder, how do you remember everybody's name like you do? And I said, and a lot of my friends still do. They call me an encyclopedia on these coon dogs. But, man, I tell you, I'm missing a few steps. Yeah, Gary Puska, great guy. Yeah, for sure. Well, do you are you friends with or acquainted with Guy Manning?
Man, we talk probably every other day or at least once a week.
He is an icon in the state of Texas. He's the one that really pounded me. He said, Steve, you got to bring the UKC World Hunt to Texas. We need it down here. You need to bring it. I said, Guy, there's no reason why we can't do that. And why they haven't before, I don't know. And we did bring it to Crockett. And I think the year was about 93. Ray Dismusk and I were talking about it. A boy from Indiana, Rory Cowles, won it with an English dog named Jesse. But, man, we had a great time there at the Civic Center or whatever in Crockett, Texas, and had some pretty good hunting around there, as I recall. Oh, yeah, I got a lot of good Texas memories. I always enjoyed going to the state hunt every year. And then when I went to, I guess it was PKC, and I started going, to the Lone Star. And then when I went to AKC, we started that hunt. We had a hunt there in Madisonville. And,
right.
For some years there, I don't remember, but. All right, I want to back up here just a little bit and talk about, you mentioned Clyde and how you bought him and so forth, and you got him, and I want you to continue that story about how he developed and all for you, but what is his pedigree? You don't have to quote the whole thing, but what's he out of, Mark?
Got a backwoods shack.
Okay.
And bottom side, I believe, come from South Carolina, that line of dogs. I've heard Tim Kramer started as Swiftwater Cheetah dogs.
The what dog?
Swift Creek Cheetah, Swiftwater Cheetah.
Yeah, his dogs were always Swift Creek, yeah. Cheetah?
Swift Creek, and that's his bottom side.
I got you. Tim's had a lot of good ones over the years. He had the Lace female that real high in the PKC standings for many years. Probably the all-time leader at one time or another, at least on the female side. Yeah,
right.
That's good stuff. Well, as you look at the hound, he's a classic hound. He looked like he could go back to some old Finley River breeding or something.
Mm-hmm.
He's got that classic big head, nice set of ears, square muzzle.
Right.
Let's just talk about him alone just for a minute. What type of dog is he? I mean, does he open on the ground at all, or is he fairly tight? Or
no, he opens on the ground. He's a middle of the road strike dog. I usually strike for 75 or 50.
Yeah,
I get 100 in Hunter's company every once in a while.
Yeah.
Where he's usually good at, he usually first dog tree out the truck. And he kind of moves to the country quicker than most dogs. He's more of a hot-nosed dog. He can trail some, but when I was training him, his strong point was I try to keep him toward his strong point and keep him on a track that he can move instead of letting him fool with something that would take, 20 minutes for him to straighten out, So
that's for the old timers like me, that kind of dog.
That's what my dad says. And he's a straight line dog. He can get out the country sometime on you because of his hunting style. But he's fairly accurate. I mean, you make 10 trees with him, you're gonna see 8, 9 coons.
Yeah.
Not many den trees.
I bet got a pretty good mouth, doesn't he? Just from looking at him.
Yeah, I would say he probably about on a scale of 10, maybe a 7.
Uh-huh.
Not just overpowering, but a good mouth, and you usually don't have a problem hearing him. He's a good, classy tree dog.
Well, if he's hunting that deep, he's got to have mouth enough for you to call him.
Yeah, he has more than enough mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he just stays out of trouble. He's not mean or not going to be run off too much, I don't think, from a tree. But usually he's so far away from other dogs, you never have to really worry about a dog being with him.
Would you describe him as a dead loner?
Oh, he's a dead loner.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hunt nothing but a dead loner anyway. You know, I try not to, but he's a dead loner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he just, man, I'd say he's better than average. You know, I don't like to brag on him, but man, he's a solid dog. I just say that.
Right.
In most categories.
Well, we've described the dog now there. Now was it this year for the Michael Moody?
Right.
Okay. Michael Moody, as most listeners will know, was a PKC hunter that was well respected. Michael
yes, sir.
contracted cancer.
Right.
And he was very open about it. And I remember his videos that he made on Facebook and all. And unfortunately, after he got the diagnosis, he didn't last very long.
Didn't last long.
No. But who was the inspiration, if you know this, you may not know, behind organizing this Michael Moody Memorial? Is that something PKC did themselves, or was it?
I want to say, and I hope I'm not wrong, didn't it start out as a Jarvis hunt first?
Oh, so that was the Jarvis
I
first
believe so.
Memorial? It could be. I don't know.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Unless they moved it. Because I believe they have one in Illinois too. I don't know if they moved the Jarvis hunt there or if they changed the Jarvis from the Michael hunt.
Yeah, I'll have to research that more because I really don't know.
But I'm pretty sure them boys in Louisiana had something to do with it. Jesse Lively and them and that crew down there, because I know they were pretty good friends with Mike. And I don't know, man. Mike, I don't know nobody that didn't like Mike.
Right.
Mike was a good, solid guy, man. Yeah. I hunted with him several times.
I'm a man of faith, and I believe you are too. And you wonder, and these are only questions what can be answered when we get to heaven, but why the good people like Mike have to go when, there's some we want to say, Lord, why do you take him instead of Mike? But yeah, by all reports, he was a man of fine character, family man, a good guy, coon hunter that knew coon dogs and participated. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, this hunt is a $4,000 entry fee, right?
Right.
That's a lot of money to put down. As I jokingly say, would I put $4,000 down and bet on what a dog's going to do for 2 hours? But, it's not that unusual for guys to pay that kind of entry fee anymore because the return is so big. But Larry Meeks, did you know Larry when he owned PKC?
I knew Larry not well. I was a youngster then, but I knew Larry.
Okay. Yeah. I went to work for Larry in 1998, and we had many, many conversations. We rode thousands of miles in vehicles, flew in airplanes together. Just a great friend. He would come to my house, and we'd hunt in Michigan. And he said, Steve, the success of PKC will depend on good dogs. If the hunters have got good dogs, they'll come back and they'll enter and they'll continue to play. If they go out there and get their eyes beat out 2 or 3 times, they're probably going to stay home. And Do you agree with that assessment?
I agree with it.
Yeah,
100%.
you can't play this game with a piece of junk to use
No.
it. Right.
No.
Well, $4,000 entry fee. Okay. Now, what caught my eye about this hunt? And I'll ask you this question. Usually everybody, in fact, I think I saw Josh Michaelis make a statement about a given hunt here just this last 2 or 3 weeks, that he figured that the final would just split. And that's the reason, for whatever reason, they had other obligations that they didn't attend that hunt. But this Final Four was hunted off. Correct?
Right.
Whose decision was that?
Michael Ward.
Michael Ward's the one that wanted to hunt it off. So
Correct.
the way it is now, if just one hunter wants to hunt it off, you got to go?
Yes, sir. It just takes one.
Yep. Well, that's the way it always was when I was at PKC, and we used to kind of joke about it. You know, of course, I was on the other side of the desk from guys like you. Usually the guy that was so determined to hunt it off, he ended up last.
I know.
Yeah.
Trust me, I've been there before.
Yeah. Okay, well, tell me a little bit about that cast or the hunt in general, anything that you remember, because Backwoods Sliding Clyde won that final and won $100,000.
Right.
Man, go
ahead.
No, I was just going to say that's a lot of money.
Yeah, especially for old poor coon hunter as myself, you know. It is.
Tell us about that hunt, Mark.
He was just, man, he was pretty flawless the whole weekend. I believe to get in the early round, he treated 4 and had a 5th one after the hunt. And he's moving like I wanted him to. And I mean, he was just popping coons like they were popcorn. I mean, he wasn't right in front of us. He'd be 800 over here with a coon, and a cousin loose would be half a mile behind us with another one. But it'd all be pretty quick. And maybe another dog made a treat 2, I believe. Maybe he kind of dominated that cast.
Now, that was the early round on the last night?
No, that was the early round Friday night.
Oh, okay, Friday night. Now, it's a 2-night hunt, right? 2-night hunt,
okay, right.
Yeah.
And I got down there. I hit traffic on the way down there, and I drove 5 hours, and when I got down there, I didn't even get to take a picture for the early round Friday night. I got there, they just said, hey, let's go. You can get dressed when we get there. And I always like to let my dogs get there a couple of hours early, you know. If I go 4 or 5 hours, that's not that bad. Just let them stretch out a little while, you know.
Sure.
And I didn't get to do that. But he didn't need it, I guess. So, you know.
So he treated 4 the first night then.
Right.
Yeah.
And Saturday night, he looked pretty much the same, but I stayed on the leash for a long time. He treated coon. I was struck and treat on my first coon in there about 800 yards before anything else was struck in. And this is in the semifinals. And I was able to get cut back loose before the 4th dog got treed on the way to him. And got him cut back loose and got treed again deep in the country pretty quick. And I sat at that tree a while, and while he scored other trees, and another dog was able to get recut off a coon too. And when I got pulled off my second coon, it might have been 9 minutes, I believe, left in the hunt. And I was leading, but if they'd have scored a dog that was treed after me before they scored me, which I thought that's how it's supposed to go, but they passed the dog on the way to me, if you understand what I'm saying. And so they scored him first.
I guess they were scoring them in order?
They scored out of order.
Out of order.
But everybody was leash locked. So, it was okay to do. And we got cut loose with 9 minutes left, and so that gave him time enough to tree another coon. You know, anything can happen in these hunts. And he got treed again with a minute left in the hunt. But luckily, he went back to the same tree. And we pulled the semifinals. We won it that way.
I got you. Now, for those who may not know the way the rules work and all, PKC has kind of dug their heels in on this leash lock thing. And that means if a dog's treed, you can't release your dog.
Right.
So you've got to walk and score that dog, or you got to walk until all the dogs that are declared treed are scored before you can recut. Am I right?
Right.
So that's why you end up, actually not getting to hunt as much hunting time. I think I know the answer, but what are your feelings on this? About leash lock?
I don't like being on the leash, but I understand it, why they have that rule in place, because they changed it a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was at a pro classic at one of the first hunts they did in Quapaw, Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. And I was hunting for Ike then. And me and Billy Bell, I know we was on the cast, and I believe Cole McVeigh was on the cast too. And me and Billy got treed right there by each other. But Billy was treed first, and I believe I was the third dog treed.
Was he hunting shifter?
I can't remember what he was hunting. I was hunting rock.
Okay. Oh, okay. You were hunting rock then.
I was hunting rock then. Yeah. And Billy might have been hunting a female, I believe, but I can't. He might have been Spice, I believe.
Yeah.
I forget who he was hunting.
Yeah.
But anyway,
could have been. Mm-hmm.
Billy was treed first. I was treed third, and Cole was treed through the countries. He was the second dog treed. So the judge had to score Billy. He called Cole and asked Cole, could he score me? And I lead, keep mine on the leash to his tree. And Cole declined that offer. The judge had to leave me at my tree, which I was maybe 60, 70 yards from Billy. Go in there half a mile and score that dog and come back and score me.
Mm-mm-mm.
And that's, you gonna,
yeah.
You got to understand, you're going to kill your judges too,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing right there, and guys in competition, they're thinking about number one, I get that.
Right.
I get all that. But man, that kind of defies common sense to me.
It does.
Yeah. Well, okay. So anyway, let's go. Now, where is was this hunt? The Michael Moody this year? Is it the same place each year?
The Moody hunt?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
In Vicksburg,
Mississippi.
Right.
Okay. All right. So now you go into the final. Now, was that held at late or?
Yeah, late Saturday night.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And so okay, you got of course. You got Brett Denny hunting the Doc Holliday dog for Ike, right?
Right.
Ike and Malcolm.
Right.
You got Doyle Murphy hunting the Crashing Out dog.
They just won the World Hunt.
Just won the UKC or PKC World
PKC World Hunt.
Yeah.
Right.
$40,000, I believe. And you got the man that wanted to hunt it off, Michael Ward, hunting Wipe Them Out Joe.
Joe.
Is it Joe? Okay. Owned by Morris and McElveen. I don't know those fellas.
Yeah.
All right. So what do we do? Where you go to out? You drive very far? What kind of territory?
We actually, they hold it at it's like a big old game management reserve where they hold this hunt at. And we didn't leave that place. We probably drove 7 or 8 miles inside of that place and hunted inside of there.
Oh, okay.
And
how'd the hunt go?
Started out slow for me. Let's see, Crash. made a couple. He made a blank tree at the beginning. He left a tree and he made a blank, which don't happen. I've hunted with that dog a million times, and that's probably the only bad night I've seen him have, I believe. Yeah. And Brett treated coon not far from the truck, and I kind of blow through the country, and me and JoJo are in the same direction, and Ward trees JoJo while we're on the way to go back and score Brett. And so I just know when we go to JoJo, I'll be going toward my dog, which I wouldn't tree yet. I was still rolling through the countryside. And we go to Brett, and he has a coon. And but I think Brett's just struck for a quarter, and I was struck for 50. And we go toward JoJo. Well, JoJo, she leaves her tree. And we get about maybe halfway to JoJo. I can hear Clyde tree through there, and I tree him. And I have a coon, which that puts me in the lead. And really, that's all I needed, because we walked away from Brett, dog. He went the opposite direction on the other side of the truck. So we were like maybe almost 2 miles from him. So we're never going to hear him again. So I don't have to worry about him. But as soon as I pull Clyde off his tree, we go to score Crash, which, he's going to need maybe 3 or 4 coons to come back and beat me. Mm-hmm. I'm treed again on the way to Crash pretty quick, and about maybe 600 yards. And I don't need the coon, but I'm feeling my dog, he hadn't made a dent or a slick all week, and I'm confident he has a coon over there. So, as coon hunters, sometimes we like to put the nail in the coffin, so to speak. And,
yeah.
We
knock the wind out of them, I used to say.
Right. and I tree him, and, he has another coon. And that pretty much sealed the deal for us. And I mean, he was just he was on his game all weekend long. He was, he just stayed out of trouble, and treed coons was with, that's a winning recipe, no matter what dog you're hunting. And
every time.
Right. And so I ain't saying he just did nothing great. He did what he's supposed to do, or what I wanted him to do. And man, that was a pretty good moment, not just for me, it's for, everybody that's involved with me, getting me there, the dog, the people. My dad was happy about it,
Oh, of course.
So,
well, that's a pretty big check.
Right.
That's a 1 with 5 zeros after it.
Right. Right. And they don't give them away too much,
No, you don't get that every day. I remember when less than $100,000 was leading the PKC all-time money list.
Oh yeah,
a dog named Silver Dollar Cracker.
Silver Dollar Cracker.
Yeah,
right,
for sure. And I had the good fortune to hunt some with Cracker. I hunted with him. We started these Grand Slams in UKC, and I had the Cracker walk me. I think it was 37 or 38 minutes, as hard as we could walk across a muddy field there in Missouri and he's sitting right on the edge of the field with a coon over his head. And back then, that was when UKC was just getting into a few money hunts, and it was a $3,000 first prize, which back then was pretty good change. And they drove within 100 yards of the tree and picked us up when the hunt was over. It's a whole story. I think I may have told it on here, but just to show you how, when I get in a conversation, I'm like chasing rabbits. One goes this way and one goes that way. But yeah, that's the thing about my career, Mark, was I got to hunt with a lot of good hunters and a lot of good dogs over the years, I just wish I had the legs to go out there and walk along on some of these casts, but I watch them on YouTube, and I said, man, I am glad I'm not on that cast.
No, that's right.
I'd be like, I watched one the other day. I'll give him a little dig because I've hunted with him and against him and all. Greg Maynard, they were getting ready to turn the dogs loose, and he hadn't even got out. I guess he's still back to the truck. They'd walked up. I thought, that's me right there. Maynard looks like me. I'd be dragging behind. All right, so that's just awesome. Now, when was this hunt, the Moody hunt?
Back in February.
February,
this year.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's not all that long ago. Just a couple months, really.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's just amazing to be able to win that much with a coonhound. Another one that you won, and I know we mentioned here earlier on, you won the Texas State PKC Championship this year. Was that a good hunt for you?
Oh yeah, man. It was hard earned because we hunted. We was on a tornado watch Friday night. You know, normally you finish the state hunt in one night.
Yeah.
And we had to finish the finals on Saturday night. Yeah, it was pretty rough.
You didn't want to end up in Kansas like Dorothy with the Wizard of Oz.
I was close to it.
Close to it. Well,
yes, sir.
Another significant win to me, and I'm sure it was to you, and you have the picture posted on social media, it's when you won this pro sport side-by-side hunt. The Muddy, as you call it.
We won that in the rain as well.
Is that well? It lived up to its name, the Muddy. Then, huh?
Right.
Is Wheeler, Illinois, right on the Mississippi River?
I don't believe so. Wheeler is right there between. I want to say between Salem and Newton, Illinois. If you know where Newton is.
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I hunted quite a bit in that area over the years because we go to hunts at Flora. The various associations would have them there, and I had a good friend named Everett Weems that lived at Salem. And anytime I was down in that country, I'd go pleasure hunting with Everett, and we hunted around, in that general area. Okay. But that was one fine ride. That's what is that, about a $35,000-$40,000 rig?
I think they gave me credit for $40,000.
Yeah. Yeah, amazing. What about that hunt? Was it a good one?
That was a good one. That was a good one. It was we won that in maybe the last 4 minutes of the hunt, I want to say. He come treed. I was in second place, so Eli Leverett ended up second, I believe. Dustin Weed was in the finals on that cast. And the dog that won nationals last year, Split Trend Trigger, he was in the finals too with us. And I treated coon pretty quick out the truck, but I couldn't get him hurt because it was raining on us pretty hard. And finally got him scored on the coon, and he kind of just floated around the countryside for the rest of the hunt. And Eli ended up going ahead about midway through the hunt, and I don't believe the other two dogs ever made a tree. And anyway, Clyde he was up to a mile away from me at one point. And he kind of took a cornfield and come back around. And he got within under 700 yards of me. And he just fell treed and had a little old kitten coon. He was a kitten coon still climbing the tree when we walked up, and that's what won side by side.
Awesome. Well, I hate the worst condition to me to coon hunt in is rain. I don't like to hunt it. You can't hear your dog. You can't shine the trees. Right. I've had, I was judging a cast one night out of Salem, Sullivan, one of the super stake hunts, I guess. And we were up around Greencastle, Indiana. We were hunting in the pouring down rain and looking up trying to. Do you ever have one of those big old raindrops hit you right in the eye?
Oh, man. That's the worst ever.
That is bad. That's bad. Yeah. Well, you got it. They say, and I know there are a few exceptions, but, they never cancel a football game or a coon hunt because of the weather. But sometimes what you mentioned, those tornadoes, that's something you don't want to mess with. Yeah. Well, man, you've just had a heck of a ride, Mark, and just so many great wins, and who is Darius Ross? Darius Ross.
Oh, that's a buddy of mine from. He's from up your way. He's around South Carolina. Yeah.
He made a post, and he was talking about you and your dog.
Uh-huh.
And he said, just talking to Mark the few times I had a lot of questions. And to make a long story short, Clyde, being only 4 years old, has won all across the country. And hearing from others, he's just a flat-out coon dog. To me, this is a heck of a resume for a dog with plenty of hunting to go in his life. Ready to see what Clyde and his team has in the tank for 2025. I thought that was a great post.
Oh, yeah. And I appreciate Darius for that. I ain't even asked for it. And we need more people like him. He's fired up, man. He's always fired up. We need a big old group text together. Oh, and if we can just convert him from hunting them black dogs to hunting walkers, he would be all right. But that dies hard. If you can imagine, at my age, you'd think I'd be smarter, but I'm still hunting a plot dog. I've had a few good walkers, though. I really have. I had one out of out of Mill Creek Molly and Silver Dollar Stone, and back there that I really liked, So I'm not colorblind. My good buddy Randy Smith, and he says that I believe he's hunted. Do you recall hunting with Randy? I have never hunted against Randy. I don't believe. Okay. I know him because you see him everywhere. But
yeah, he's been awfully good to me. We became friends in 2016 when his female Sue won the UKC World Hunt. And he was there, and his handler, Rick Strouser, and his partner, Tom Strang. And they're just great guys. And that's where a lot of my coon hunting happens nowadays. I'm sitting on the couch with one of these Garmin LTE collars on Randy's dog, or my buddy Mark Miller that has our plot dog up in North Carolina. So I do a lot of coon hunting watching my phone. But still get out. Every chance I get. In fact, while we were recording, my buddy up the road here called in, so I'll have to call him. He probably wants to go. And we still got a little bit of cooler nights here, not, our rough weather's coming up, for summertime and all. Oh,
yeah. I know exactly how it goes.
Yeah. I imagine, well, just before we shut this thing down, Mark, I'll first ask you, is there anything that you thought that we should talk about that I haven't touched on?
Oh, no, we touched everything.
Well, I just want to ask you a little bit about your regimen. How of course, you've got a dog there, a veteran. How old is he now, Clyde?
He'll be 5 in July.
Yeah, he's just right. He's got a lot of goody left in him if everything goes well, and I hope it does. Do you hunt the dog quite a bit during the week, or do you kind of have a routine that you go through leading up to a hunt or whatever?
Yeah, I try to hunt him. I used to hunt him, 4, 5, 6 nights a week. And now it's gotten down to maybe 2 or 3 nights a week. He's older and more seasoned now. I just kind of more to just keep his, his legs stretched out.
Yeah.
And for the summer, like Rand, I said, they got a hunt in Newton, Illinois at the end of May I want to go to. And I said after that, I'll probably cut him off for the summer.
I got you. I don't like summer hunting. In fact, I refuse to do it down here because it's like a jungle and it's like an oven too.
Right.
So so you're back to like maybe 2 or 3 nights a week now.
Right. Right. And I've been trying to find me a young dog to play around with. I hunt during the summer, but I don't hunt nearby as hard. But I still like to get out. And been looking for a young dog, and they just sold something that I like, and I already went to 2 or 3 of them in the last maybe month, I guess.
Just haven't found that one yet, huh?
No, haven't found one.
On the average night, how far do you have to drive to cut a dog?
Last 2 nights, I drove an hour.
Yeah.
Just to go, yeah.
It's pretty much that way down here, too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
right.
about an hour.
I've been getting in. I'm tired now. I got in last night around 2. And had to be at work at 6:30 in the morning. So, yeah, I think I'll take a break tonight.
Well, you could have probably got a good nap while you're talking to me here, but it sure has been enjoyable. I've really enjoyed it, and it would be my wish that I could go on a cast sometime with Clyde and you and meet you face to face. You said we met before, and I'm sure I'll remember that when I get to look you in the eye. But how old a man are you, Mark?
42.
42?
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, yes. You're a young man and got a great hound and just so happy for you that you've been able to accomplish what you have. And I hope you do find that young dog. Clyde's probably got another, I don't know. Sometimes I won plot days one year with an 8-year-old, so.
Oh, yeah. I hope we got another 3 or 4 years left in us.
Yeah. I would say so. I'm going to ask you one other thing, and I meant to ask you before. What do you feed?
I feed Joy.
Joy. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's a good one. Can't go wrong with it. And they're doing an awful lot for our sport, in their promotions and all, and sending Josh around all over the country to film and do all that he does. And, of course, with the Cane Stream Media. Did they film the final cast of the Michael Moody?
No, they didn't. Because Josh thought we were going to split.
Oh, that's it. That's it. Maybe that's the one he was talking about. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he'll learn a lesson right there, won't he? Especially if you're in the final case. I'm not going to ask you whether you would have agreed to split or not. I'll just.
I was. Me and Doyle, we were both. We were sitting in a truck together at the club, and we were both ready to go home. And he reached over and showed me his phone. He said, "Look, like we're going hunting." Michael Ward already put it on Facebook. He said, "First to last, no matter what, I'm proud of." He's proud of his dog. So, but that's one thing about Michael, he'll do it again, and he don't mind.
Yeah.
He ain't no fear when it comes to hunting it off, which is, I think it's good for the sport.
Yeah, it definitely is, and it's good for the guys like me that really can't participate in it anymore to see. Right. How many of us get out and drive an automobile 200 miles an hour,
Right.
But we can sit at home and watch NASCAR and watch those guys do it, and it's entertainment, and it's fun, and it's good, keeps people involved in the sport. I'm 100% for it. I'm just too old for it. That's my problem. Right. But I can talk about it, I hope, for a few more years anyway. Well, Marc Gilmore, it has been a great pleasure to talk with you today. I thank you for taking your time away from your job or whatever, or getting some rest. And just been a real pleasure, Marc, and I thank you very much.
I appreciate you.
All right, it's time for me to pay some bills. I want to thank the good folks at W Hunting Supply, the main sponsor. They provide the platform that this podcast appears on each week. Buddy Woodbury is the owner there. We thank Buddy so much. Also want to thank Alpha Dog Nutrition, a new sponsor this last year, and they have virtually anything you need for the nutrition of your dog. And I also cannot mention sponsors without mentioning Big Mark Zepp with Zepp Predator Calls. He makes a great coon squaller, and just thank him so much. Well, that's going to wrap it up, folks, for this week on Gone to the Dogs. We'll be back next week with another guest, but be sure and tell all your friends about this interview or this conversation with Marc Gilmore. It's been a great one. Thank you again, Marc, and we'll see you down the road.
I appreciate it.